There are moments when pain is handed to you in silence, in words, or in actions that cut deep. The natural instinct is to fight back, to explain, to demand why. But true power is never in matching wounds with wounds. It is in confusing the source of pain with the strength of your calm, the mystery of your detachment, and the glow of your transformation. When pain arrives, the heart's first impulse is to respond, to lash out, to demand answers, to shout every question that burns inside. Yet, nothing rattles the mind of the one who caused the pain more than silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence wrapped in mystery. It is the refusal to give your emotions as a gift to someone who hasn't earned the right to hold them. When words are withheld, the other is left in a storm of their own making, while you stand untouched in stillness. Reaction is predictable, but silence is unpredictable. It bends the mind. It forces questions. It plants doubt. Why no tears? Why no shouts? Why no proof of pain? Silence becomes the mirror where they must face themselves. While you retreat into stillness, they are left chasing echoes, wondering what thoughts run through your mind, what feelings stir in your heart, and whether they still hold any place there at all. To stay silent is not to be weak. It is to choose the higher ground where power shifts. Words often spill and scatter, but silence is sharp, precise, and unforgettable. It lingers longer than any argument could. Arguments can be dismissed, tears can be excused, but silence cannot be ignored. It follows them in quiet moments. It echoes when they are alone. It wraps around their conscience like a shadow that refuses to leave. Imagine the strength in not answering a wound with a scream, but with calm stillness. Imagine the confusion created when no explanation is offered, no blame is thrown, no desperate plea for closure is made. Instead, only silence stands there, unyielding. It forces the other to feel what they never expected. Uncertainty. They begin to replay every word, every action, searching for meaning that your silence denies them. The more they search, the less they find, and the more your power grows. Silence is not about ignoring forever. It is about choosing when your words are worth spending. Not every wound deserves your explanation. Not every betrayal deserves your voice. There is strength in knowing that silence speaks louder than words when wielded with intention. It says, "You cannot pull me into your chaos. You cannot dictate my emotions. You cannot control my voice." It is an invisible shield, one that protects your dignity while slowly unsettling the one who thought they could shake you. In silence, you heal faster because your energy is not scattered in shouting or proving your pain. In silence, you rise higher because the focus turns inward towards rebuilding and rediscovering yourself. And in silence, you confuse because the expectation of your reaction becomes a void they cannot fill. That void is their punishment, and your peace is your reward. When pain is handed to you, the world expects you to shrink, to break, to return the wound with sharpness. But when instead of bitterness you offer kindness, the ground beneath them begins to tremble. They thought they could draw out anger, yet you hand them grace. They expected tears that beg for explanation, yet you give them calmness that asks for nothing. Such a response is not weakness, it is mastery, the art of showing that you are not bound by another's cruelty, that you choose the tone of your spirit no matter what is thrown your way. Kindness in the face of hurt is not about pretending the pain does not exist. It is about refusing to let the pain define you. When someone sees that the fire they lit within you did not consume you, but instead ignited a gentleness they did not expect, they are left unsettled. They do not know how to process it, for anger can be fought, tears can be dismissed, but kindness disarms. It is confusing because it reflects back to them a version of you they cannot control. They see light where they tried to cast shadow, and that light blinds them more than any revenge ever could. When you smile through the cracks, when you respond with patience where venom was aimed, you stand taller. They are left to wonder if their actions had any power at all. Why does she not rage? Why does she not crumble? These questions repeat in their mind because kindness robs them of their expected victory. It places you in a position above the wound, untouchable, serene, radiant. and that serenity whispers to them that their attempt failed. This kindness is not about letting them back in. It is about letting yourself rise without hate. Hate chains you, keeps you bound to the one who hurt you. But kindness frees you, cuts the rope, and lets you drift beyond their reach. They cannot chase you if you carry no bitterness for them to feed on. They cannot chain you if you walk with compassion for yourself, so strong it spills outward, leaving them powerless in the presence of your calm. It confuses deeply because they are left craving a reaction. They search for signs of your suffering, yet all they see is a woman standing with grace. They try to provoke, yet nothing strikes, for you answer with gentleness that cannot be argued against. That gentleness is not softness, it is strength clothed in elegance. It is the sign of someone who has chosen not to lose dignity for the sake of retaliation. And while they are lost in confusion, you continue forward, untouched by their expectations. You become the living reminder that no cruelty has the final word over your heart. Your kindness becomes your shield, your silence becomes your sword, and together they build a mystery so powerful. It lingers in their thoughts long after the wound was given. When hurt tries to chain you, the most powerful move is not to sit in the ashes of that pain, but to redirect every drop of energy into your own becoming. Instead of chasing for reasons, instead of replaying the wound over and over, you rise and choose to pour yourself into growth. Energy is never lost, it only shifts. If you pour it into anger, you burn yourself. If you pour it into longing, you drain yourself. But if you pour it into becoming stronger, wiser, and more radiant, you confuse the one who thought they had dimmed your light. They expect to see you shattered, yet you are seen creating. They expect withdrawal into darkness, yet you step into new spaces, building, learning, thriving. This redirection of energy is not loud, it is not a performance. It is quiet dedication, a choice made in every small moment. Every time you pick yourself instead of replaying them, every time you choose peace over obsession, every time you place your focus on growth instead of grief, you reclaim power. And while you heal, the one who caused the pain is left wondering how you slipped beyond the reach of their shadow. When you redirect energy, your actions speak louder than words. The glow in your eyes as you nurture your dreams, the strength in your walk as you build a life untied from their approval, the calm in your presence as you detach. All of it becomes a language they cannot escape. They may look back to see if you're still standing in the same place of pain, but instead they find you have moved forward, carrying not bitterness, but brilliance. That brilliance unsettles because it is proof that their attempt to break you only carved out space for you to rise higher. It is a shift from being defined by pain to being defined by purpose. Your attention becomes the most valuable currency, and you spend it only on what grows you. And in doing so, you create confusion in silence because they realize they no longer occupy the center of your world. They are no longer the gravity pulling you down. You are your own universe, expanding, shining, and becoming untouchable. Redirection of energy does not mean you forget what happened. It means you transform the weight of it. You lift it, reshape it, and turn it into fuel. Pain that once could have destroyed you becomes the very reason you discover new strength. This transformation is what unsettles them the most, the realization that instead of breaking you, they unknowingly contributed to your evolution. You stand taller, brighter, freer, and that freedom is the most confusing answer you could ever give. Detachment is not coldness, it is quiet mastery. It is the art of holding your emotions in your own hands instead of placing them in someone else's. When you detach after being hurt, you are not pretending the wound never happened. You are showing that the wound has no power over the way you carry yourself. Detachment is serenity in the storm, an elegance that unsettles because it does not fit the script they wrote for you. They wanted you to break, but instead you rise untouched as though their blow could not reach your center. When you detach, you no longer beg for answers. You no longer chase explanations. You no longer allow their presence or absence to control your state of being. You remain steady, calm, unshaken. This quiet poise is confusing because it erases the control they once believed they had. They expect emotional chaos, yet you deliver peace. They expect tears, yet you deliver silence. They expect to see proof of their importance in your reaction, yet you deliver stillness that whispers, "You no longer decide my peace." Detachment does not mean you feel nothing. It means you feel everything and still choose yourself first. It is not a wall, but a window. A window where they see you but cannot touch you. They knock, they try to provoke. They try to test if you still care, but you answer with serenity. You neither fight nor cling. You simply exist beyond their reach. This leaves them with an ache, a confusion that grows each time they realize their presence no longer defines your mood. The beauty of detachment is that it creates mystery. Mystery unsettles. They begin to question, does she still care? Has she moved on? Did I ever have the power I thought I had? These questions haunt them, not because you told them anything, but because your calm silence forces their mind to wander. Your detachment becomes a mirror where they must face themselves without your validation softening the truth. In this state, you take back control of your energy. You stop pouring your emotions into places that do not deserve them. You stop letting your inner peace rise and fall according to someone else's actions. Instead, you anchor yourself in your own spirit. The strength of detachment is that it cannot be argued with. They can dismiss your anger. They can mock your pain, but they cannot dismiss your calm. Calmness unsettles more than rage ever could, because calmness says, you are no longer my storm. And as you walk in this quiet power, they feel the weight of their own choices pressing on them. What they thought would shake you instead sharpened you. What they thought would destroy you instead defined your strength. Your detachment speaks without words, confuses without effort, and heals without noise. It is not the absence of emotion. It is the presence of control. And that presence makes you untouchable. Boundaries are not walls. They are quiet lines of self-respect that cannot be seen, but can always be felt. When you set boundaries after being hurt, you do not need to announce them, explain them, or argue for them. You simply live them. And this silent shift creates a mystery that unsettles. Suddenly, you are less available, less predictable, less within their reach. The places they once found you are now empty. The responses they once received are no longer given. The time they once claimed is now yours alone. That absence is louder than any confrontation, and it leaves them questioning where they stand. Mysterious boundaries are not about cruelty, they are about self-preservation. You choose what parts of yourself remain visible, what energy you allow to be touched, and what space remains sacred and untouchable. When you do this, confusion sets in because they no longer know the map to you. They thought they understood how to reach you, how to trigger you, how to pull you back into their orbit. But the path is now hidden, and they wander lost, wondering what shifted, what changed, what they lost without realizing it. This mystery draws questions they will never dare to ask. Why can't I reach her the same way? Why does she feel so far away now? Why does it seem like her world no longer needs me? These unspoken questions are the silent weight of your boundaries pressing on them. They search for the old patterns, the old access, but each time they try, they discover you are not where they left you. You have redrawn the lines and they cannot cross them. Boundaries confuse because they are not arguments, they are actions. You no longer explain why you are distant, you simply are. You no longer justify why you are unavailable, you simply choose yourself. And in this choice, you reclaim power. It is not about punishment, it is about priority. You have placed your peace, your growth, and your worth above their presence. That prioritization unsettles them, for it reminds them that they are no longer at the center of your life. Mystery is born when you become selective with your time, your energy, and your attention. You no longer answer every call, respond to every word, or show up at every moment. You give access only where it is earned. This shift does not need explanation because the silence surrounding it does all the speaking. They will notice the absence, they will feel the distance, they will sense the change, and that sensing will torment them more than any loud declaration ever could. Your mysterious boundaries whisper that you are no longer theirs to reach at will. They remind them that you belong first to yourself. And in this quiet belonging, you confuse without effort. You teach without speaking. You leave them wondering not only what happened, but who you have become. And in that wondering, your power becomes undeniable. Transformation is the final answer to pain, the quiet revenge that speaks without words. When someone tries to break you, they expect to see you smaller, dimmer, less alive. But when you rise with more glow, more strength, more beauty than ever before, it unsettles them in ways they cannot admit. Your healing becomes their confusion, your radiance their mirror, your evolution the reminder that no wound they delivered was strong enough to bury you. The glow of transformation is not just physical, it is spiritual, emotional, and energetic. It is the calm in your eyes when you walk into a room, the peace in your voice when you speak, the fire in your steps when you chase your goals. They notice the shift. They see that the person they once thought they could wound has become untouchable. It makes them question if they ever truly knew you, if they ever really had you, or if they only knew a version of you who hadn't yet discovered her full power. Every choice you make to rise higher adds to that glow. Every moment you choose self-love over self-doubt, every step you take toward your dreams instead of toward the past, every boundary you reinforce, every silence you protect, all of it shapes the transformation. And this transformation cannot be hidden. It radiates naturally, without effort, without needing to be shown. Those who hurt you feel it even from a distance. They sense the shift in your presence, the light in your being, the strength in your aura. It confuses them because they expected your story to end in weakness, not in rebirth. The beauty of transformation is that it rewrites the narrative. You are no longer the woman who was hurt. You are the woman who turned pain into power. This is what unsettles the most because it reveals that their actions did not define you, but instead propelled you. They gave you the ashes, but you became the flame. They gave you the darkness, but you became the light. And nothing confuses more than realizing that what was meant to break you only made you rise. The glow of transformation is the kind of glow that cannot be faked because it is built in silence, in private battles, in quiet nights where you chose healing over hopelessness. It is the kind of glow that carries depth, that speaks of survival, that whispers resilience in every movement. When they see you, they don't just see beauty. They see strength wrapped in elegance, power wrapped in grace, and peace that cannot be shaken. In that moment, they are left with nothing but questions. How did she rise like this? How did she heal so completely? How did she find joy without me? These are questions they may never voice, but they will carry them. And as they carry the confusion, you continue to shine brighter, proving that the best answer to pain is not revenge, not anger, not despair. It is transformation so radiant, it leaves no room for doubt. You were never meant to be broken. And so when hurt arrives, you no longer meet it with chaos, with pleading, or with the need to be understood. You meet it with silence that unsettles, with kindness that disarms, with energy redirected into your own becoming. You walk with detachment that cannot be shaken, boundaries that cannot be crossed, and a transformation glow that blinds the eyes that once tried to dim you. In the end, the greatest confusion you can create is not in what you say or what you do to them. It is in who you become without them. A force of peace, of strength, of elegance, untouchable and unforgettable.